Welcome to Michigan Condo Voices, where real co-owners and real Michigan communities come together. We break down the issues that matter most with clarity and transparency. Let's get into today's episode.
A lot of co-owners are asking where our money is going, and honestly, some of the 2026 numbers raise real questions. Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie from Michigan Condo Voices, a former staff accountant and budget manager, and I help Michigan co-owners make sense of complex HOA financial data. Today in part 1, I'm breaking down a 2026 HOA budget in plain English. Before we get started, please take a moment to subscribe. It's free and it helps more Michigan co-owners get the clarity they deserve. Let's start with what the board presented for 2026. This budget lists annual totals and nothing else. No monthly timing, no supporting schedules, no breakdown of how these numbers were built. Annual totals alone are not standard practice for financial transparency. We don't see which months major spending will happen. Contract increases are referenced but never shown. There's no reconciliation to prior year actuals, which is a basic financial oversight. Reserve contributions appear flat, even though major components are decades overdue. I'm going to be blunt. This is bare minimum budgeting. Publishing totals is not the same as showing your work. I literally would be fired if I ever presented annual totals to an executive. As you know, this year the board rolled the old assessment into everyone's monthly dues for 2026. On paper, it looks simple, but simplicity isn't transparent. Co-owners lose visibility into what portion is for operations versus prior year shortfalls. This blurs the line between routine spending and extraordinary fixes. Remember, we had an increase in base dues this year for 2025, and now we're seeing back-to-back increases for 2026 in base dues. Co-owners, make no mistake, we have to pay for poor planning of HOA boards. For a community already struggling with reserves, bundling numbers together makes it harder for co-owners to track exactly where our money is going. Now let's look at the key drivers the board cited for these increases and compare them to the actual numbers. Insurance uncertainty. The board claims insurance might go up because of electrical panels, but the 2025 premium actually decreased by $122,000, according to the board. So this explanation is speculative at best, not financial. Here's what co-owners should know. You cannot base a permanent dues increase on an assumption. Insurance premiums must be supported by carrier documentation. Electrical panel issues, unless formally cited by the insurer, do not automatically justify a six-figure prediction. If an HOA is using projected insurance costs as a reason for permanently raising dues, co-owners have the right to ask for the carrier's written renewal estimate, underwriting notes, and evidence of any surcharge. Without documentation, again, this is pure speculation. More importantly, the board should explain in plain English why we are in a situation that requires high-risk insurance not written in the state of Michigan in the first place. Yes, roof materials are high, but roofs are a planned reserve item. If reserves were funded properly, roof projects would not be a budget shocker. Roof replacements are reserve projects, not operating expenses. Permanent dues increases should not be justified by future reserve spending unless the reserve study specifically says contributions are too low. And if that is the case, show us. Tariff predictions must come from the actual vendor, letters, or reserve planning data, not general statements. Show the co-owner something in writing where the vendor states the increased costs are due to tariffs. And don't forget, we're talking about patchwork, not a complete teardown. If your HOA cites roofing as a reason to convert assessments into dues, ask to see the reserve study section on roofing, the estimated remaining useful life, and the actual vendor quotes. Costs might go up is not a financial plan. If you want transparency, you show the math, not just the narrative. Contract increases. The board says contracts increased by over 3%, but some budget categories increase far more than 3%. That mismatch needs to be explained, and that'll be in part 2, by the way. This is a common but misleading justification. A 3% increase is normal inflation and does not explain why dues might increase 10 to 15%. Co-owners should ask which contracts increase, by how much, what are the exact dollar changes, why does a small contract increase justify a large dues increase? Numbers must match the narrative. Hang tight, because in part 2, I'm going to break down all the increases and decreases. Legal spending. Legal fees rise because the board signed a 4-year legal retainer and did not bother to get input from co-owners. That's a choice. Also, the public records I reviewed shows most legal actions were initiated by the board, not co-owners. Legal fees are rising due to lawsuits involving the association. This also appears to be happening in multiple Michigan associations. The key question co-owners should ask is, who initiated the lawsuits? If legal spending is rising, HOA should provide total cases, total legal fees, cause of fees, and trends over time. Without that information, co-owners cannot determine whether increased dues are tied to essential legal expenses or avoidable ones. It is my prayer that the board will start engaging with co-owners to resolve simple disputes. It is so heartbreaking when co-owners are sent to legal over nominal fees. That doesn't seem to make sense. If you want transparency, you show the math, not just the narrative. Our reserves hover around $100K, far below the recommended amount. Let's be honest, some infrastructure hasn't been replaced since the 1970s. Ideally, a community budget should prepare for the next 10 years, not just the next 12 months. And this budget doesn't address long-term capital needs at all. I also want to take a moment to explain reserves, because this is one of the most important parts of HOA finances and one of the easiest to misunderstand. Operating income covers everyday bills, utilities, landscaping, insurance management, and routine maintenance. Reserves, on the other hand, are long-term savings for big projects such as roofs, siding, concrete, drainage, and aging infrastructure. Right now, our reserves have been sitting around $100K, which is extremely low for a 50-year-old community. That level doesn't come close to what's needed for major replacements. And here's the key point, co-owners. Rolling the special assessment into dues doesn't actually increase our reserve funding. It just changes how the money is collected on the operating side. There are two separate buckets, and without a real increase to reserves, we're still not preparing for the big repairs that are headed our way. Strong communities plan 5 to 10 years ahead. When reserves stay flat year after year, it usually means long-term planning isn't happening. And that ultimately leads to big surprise costs for co-owners. Assessments or base dues increase. Here's what co-owners should take away from part 1. When a temporary assessment becomes a permanent part of HOA dues, co-owners should expect the clear math, documentation, itemized justification, distinction between operating expenses and reserve needs, a breakdown showing where each dollar goes. If explanations rely on assumptions, maybes, or incomplete information, it's reasonable to ask questions. Transparency is not an attack, it's good governance. As someone who worked as a staff accountant and budget manager, it's very clear to me that what we're seeing isn't just a financial document. It's a symptom of a much bigger issue, a lack of planning, a lack of transparency, and a lack of long-term vision. Budgets tell a story, and when the story is thin, unclear, or missing important details, it usually means the decision makers don't have a clear roadmap. Communities thrive when leaders plan ahead, not month to month or crisis to crisis. My goal isn't to criticize people. My goal is to advocate for better systems, clearer communication, and budgeting practices that protect homeowners instead of surprising them. I'll come back in part 2 to keep explaining the numbers because co-owners deserve the full picture, not just the annual totals. I hope this initial breakdown helps you better understand how to evaluate the financial explanations that your HOA provides, whether you're here in my community or anywhere in Michigan. If you want a clearer understanding of HOA budgets, dues, reserves, and legal expenses, please subscribe to Michigan Condo Voices. My goal is simple: empower co-owners with information that they deserve. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for part 2. Take care.